Greetings, fellow 11th Street kids. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And we are back with the penultimate recap episode of Peacemaker Season 2, Like a Keith, in the Night. So this one's a little bit divisive. I think this one is definitely the episode that I've seen some pushback on. But Dragon, I really have a theory for why there's pushback here. And I really do think that it is simply the fact that James Gunn did not anticipate that literally everyone and their mother was going to play armchair detective as soon as we went to this dimension and saw that there were only white people and be like, hey, it's Nazis. Because I feel like because the internet had like a 3-week head start on that twist, I just feel like we got our expectations too. Like we let our imaginations go wild on what this episode could have possibly been. And I want to appreciate what this episode is, because I think this is a damn good episode. Like, maybe not necessarily, like, as far as, fulfilling all the crazy theories and, like, what we could have seen. Like, don't get me wrong. I do think in some ways we kind of pulled some punches as far as really showcasing, like, for example, I would have liked to at least seen one episode where we see, like, the farm for whatever that's worth. But I think just as a character episode, which of course this show at the end of the day is just a very, very, it's a pretty intimate character study of a superhero. And I think this episode did a really, really great job. I mean, obviously we have John Cena's finest hour, I would say, as an actor ever in this episode, just as far as, that one moment towards the end. So overall, I'm very satisfied with the episode. On a character level, I will admit there's definitely some stuff that we could have played around with a little bit more when it comes to the Nazi dimension side of things. But like I said, as a character piece, I think this was a perfect penultimate episode. Just maybe drop the ball a little bit as far as the world building. How are you coming down on it?
I haven't heard any pushback at all. I thought this episode was great. Might be the best of the season.
Dragon, I guess the side of the internet that I'm on is basically just like, how dare it not live up to my fan theories?
The internet that I'm seeing, they're blown away by this episode. I don't know. I'm seeing that. Look, yes, there's the word got out on the Nazi thing. I mean, look, I don't think we needed to see the concentration camps. I mean, that might be coming up in the next one. We don't know. But beyond that, it's like, look, it was always just a question of GI robot or no GI robot. And given the way the episode went out, yeah, there's probably not room for a GI robot, but that's fine. I mean, what we got here was I was subverted. I was blown away by it in certain places, and yeah, I mean, James Gunn's like hyping up, I think, the wrong Cena moments, because this is the best performance ever from the man. This is top tier.
Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely some interesting kind of like moral implications. I feel like there's at least one or two like real sort of Rorschach tests of morality within this episode that I'm excited to cover. But let's break it all down. First, Dragon, I want to just address something. I don't think I've ever addressed it on the show before, but just because we're towards the end of the season, like, it's fine. It doesn't like take away from the show at all. I am not a fan of the episode naming conventions. And I know that it's something that we've been doing since season 1. But Dragon, I don't know. Maybe it's just a trauma response from Rick and Morty, but the episode titles are very Rick and Morty coded with, just using the character in the title. I don't know. Maybe that's a me thing.
That's a you thing.
Okay. Just wanted to get it out. I don't know. Like I said, it's more of a Rick and Morty like.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, where do you want to start here?
All right, so we picked things up directly from the Nazi flag, which initially I like, to a degree I still bump up against like how flagrantly it was a Nazi dimension the whole time, but just turns like I really wanted to be like the 50 like the 50 stars as like smaller smaller stickers. So, well, like, from a distance it would have looked normal, but up close, like, oh my god. Like I really wish they went that direction, but for the gag and what they do with so it was much more flagrant. Peacemaker was just, we played Peacemaker pretty straight this season, but then we have a gag just to remind you,
I feel like the mural gag is very much James Gunn kind of waving his hand and being like, it's funny that Chris didn't
Yeah.
notice. Don't think too hard about it.
Yeah, that's why ultimately, like, that was basically his way of justifying, like, the whole, like, why is just the swastika on the flag? Like, he's only been there for, like, 3 days, and he didn't notice, even though, like, literally a giant Hitler mural, which really he should have clocked. But I love the ramp up initially, where it was, like, the flag and, like, Mein Kampf on every desk. I love the idea of Mein
Right,
Kampf
right.
just being on every desk is, like, is pretty much like the Bible equivalent. So all that. Apparently, there was a thing they cut to where James Gunn he thought it was like too on the nose, literally, or at least it looked too silly. Where the idea is, they had to cut these poor actors. They had to cut them at the end. Where all the mustaches in the world initially were Hitler
Oh, I
mustaches, but
heard about this. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what.
It would have been
Anyway,
wild.
so yeah. Well, but here's the it would have wild, but then it would have been like, okay, there's no reason they should have noticed like all the mustaches. Same as he's gonna look at people. Anyway, so
I thought everyone was really big Charlie Chaplin fans.
yeah, but you gotta take it. Those are real mustaches. Those poor people. They had to wear those Charlie Chaplin and or Hitler mustaches. Basically, hey, what's with the Charlie Chaplin movie?
Oh God.
Okay, so the big takeaway with all this, so with our big confirmation, that a lot of people called, but the really neat thing about this, and basically we confirmed that this. I mean, I don't know how official in terms of putting the label on it is, but this essentially is in the comics. There's Earth X. Earth X is the Nazi, the Earth. So this is essentially a modernized update on Earth X, which was kind of speculated with the whole Nazi twist coming, and that's really cool. And we go full tilt with it with the whole reveal, like we kind of speculated. Yeah, so this is what all the Beatles trivia and everything being changed is most likely due to the Nazis winning World War II. So that's where it all stems from. So I love that. So that basically, so the Nazis winning World War II is basically where Earth X comes from. So that's kind of where. So again, just a modern day, like where would be now from then. So that's kind of James Gunn's twist on like kind of classic comics lore, which I thought was really neat. So that's a cool way of like him adapting Earth X, and no one really, well, until the internet came along, no one really knowing what was going on there.
Right.
So still, it's just kind of basically the idea of like most, and the idea like we have most likely we have like a variety of concentration camps that we're not seeing there, basically work camps, and God, like we're kind of circling like the implications there of like could just be work camps, like the implications that all the labor is basically slave and or I guess kind of like camp labor, but whether they're
And at
actually
the end of the day, Dragon, I really do feel like that's kind of like the main thing where, like I said, from a character point of view, this episode's pretty phenomenal. But I wish that I don't know. Again, it's tricky because like
it gets too dark if we do like eight like how many nationalities or minorities were like putting in these camps, like like basically Schindler's List times that many. We don't want to do that like in an episode. It's just going to be too much of a bummer.
I guess so. It's just like when you think of I don't know. I just kind of feel like I really do feel like we got ahead of ourselves, like all of us, when it comes to just kind of guessing what this twist would be and how it was going to play out.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, the big thing that Adebayo kind of voices later that I really like that. When I kind of called this, it wasn't a big call. It was just kind of like what the direction we were going in. I love I love how Adebayo kind of gives voice to the idea that the world, maybe it's not as crazy that it took him a while to catch on because, it's the idea that it's so similar to our world on the surface, with the eerie similarities, and then of course, then you get to like the heart of it all. So like from a distance, if you're a stranger coming in, it's like, oh my God, it's like, oh, we have a lot of like, this is utopia. How did you achieve it? And then, oh, well, hey, your world must be utopia because the Nazis did not win. Well,
Right.
So we have the jetpack escape, and it's a little bit of a Batman '89-esque kind of moment. The whole like you weigh a lot more than 118 pounds kind of thing. Where basically, I had to adjust it. I've never carried a person yet, so he's like crashing through the glass with Harcourt. I think Harcourt really appreciates that just instantly without hesitation. He picked her versus the Thirst Court in this, like the Nazi reality, and for obvious reasons. But still, I just love that. It kind of brought some validation. Okay, he's not going to be that far gone. Then, of course, they're evading the cops and everything. We have the really tender moment on the peace cycle.
Yeah, I do really like that moment because it just, after we have gone on kind of like a roller coaster with Chris and Harcourt this season, it's nice to kind of like, just get a little bit of a moment of quiet before everything really starts to go down.
Because they're kind of goners in this moment. They're being chased. It's going to be kind of almost like a Bonnie and Clyde moment, maybe, and they're about to, it's not going to be a. Get a sense they are really kind of cornered there, unless initially I was expecting like the peace cycle to blow everyone up, but
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I do love that he was contemplating bringing the peace cycle with him to the on the trip back home. I love just it's like how big's the opening? How big's the door? Because I want to take the peace cycle with me.
I mean, can you blame him?
Well, no, I can't blame him. It's a cycle of peace, Tiki.
I know, right?
So Adebayo, she gets chased by an angry racist mob, and she's saved by Judo Master rather awesomely. By
Zippity zap, bitches!
So she dives in the pool. We have kind of come with me. We have two kind of come with me if you want to live moments.
Uh-huh.
So one with the Judo Master, the other one is far more meta. This one's like Judo Master, like helps her out and then electrocutes her. Everyone says that's the most amount of people I've electrocuted. That's the most amount of people I've electrocuted in a pool with a telephone wire. Really, what was the first? It was a lesser amount of people that you killed 4. But still, it was an awesome movie. Like fried all the the Nazi people of Earth X just in that.
Do you think that it was maybe a little too convenient that all the people just happened to go in the pool?
I mean, I don't. Well, to be fair, they're racist. They're not really smart, so they'll probably follow. That's I mean,
how I think they should have played it is I think they should have played it where it's like we get the zippity zap bitches moment, and then there's like a few of them left over, but they all go scurrying away.
I mean, you're right. That probably would have been the way to do it, but it adds to the gag of like the bigger body count that he's got because they all went in the pool. Plus, that's mob mentality. We're all going to go in the pool because the first guy went in the pool.
Right. Yeah.
They let's face it. One way or another, they deserve to be electrocuted.
I'm not pushing back there.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So, so they're camped in this empty house, which basically Judo Master picked because it had the most snacks, and we cover all the the fun spelling anomalies of this world, like Cheetos with an H and Scrabble. But again, Adebayo just very very charming here. Just really, I love how she befriends Judo Master and Judo Master.
I really think she's been like kind of the MVP of the season, just as far as like. She is very much the glue that's emotionally holding everything together, I think. And the fact that it was her that was very much on the line, with the Nazi stuff, I think that just goes to show just, how James Gunn is kind of holding her as like kind of this beacon of, of just good people, I guess.
Yeah, because remember her whole thing with Chris earlier on was the whole thing where she was the whole grass is green on the other side, where it was like I guess more so like she's glass half full, he's glass half empty, where she's like I'll take the speed bumps in life, because it's part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we are predicting things are going to go really bad for Judo Master, or he was going to have like a fun misadventure in the night.
Yeah, and the Dragon, that's kind of where I'm at as far as like the expectations, because you and I feel like just speculated a little bit too hard on what Judo Master could be up to.
I mean, look, I was looking at
it's none of those things. He's just chilling. He's just chilling in an empty house.
I mean, look, we gave him a really great moment. We gave him a really great moment where Judo Master's thriving and he saved everyone, and we're kind of using him as an olive branch between, kind of the Rick Flag.
No, I mean, I think it's great. I think like I said, I'm just saying it's just funny how, the two of us clearly built up the Judo Master thing in our heads when it really wasn't much more than just him being used as a gag,
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I look at this episode in Judo Master and how he befriends Adebayo. It really feels like Judo Master has a hard time, making friends. And I love this. He's not looking for much. Like, for example, we echo the same moment with Economos earlier on, where, hey, do you remember when you did this to me? Mm-hmm. Economos, of course, he's doubling down with it. It's more of a jocular kind of like, immature, just sort of like, so you'd carry my dead corpse, or well, they just making it sad, man. That whole thing, where. without a bio, it was like, like a genuine, like, yeah, sorry about this. That's okay. Just that's all he's looking for. That's
And then
all
we
he's just
also get
looking
the
for.
same thing with Vigilante later on, the whole like remember what you did to me thing.
Yeah. A little
This
more in the
guy, this fucking guy.
little green guy. But it's nice, and I like how she makes the great sales pitch for a Peacemaker via the music, which feels like how anyone would befriend James Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so meanwhile, Economos, he was. I love that he was pleading for Eagly's help, and
Okay, this episode it really clicked for me, Dragon. I feel like Economos and Eagly are like the baby siblings of the 11th Street Kids. And they just bicker with each other, and they have just this sibling dynamic. It's like they're kind of at the kids table, and they're both kind of like the kids of the group, and they just bicker at each other.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I love it. I love it.
It's love like Eagly's thought you're tied up. You want more?
You're
shrimp.
so fucking selfish, Eagly. You are unbelievably selfish.
Like he's always being mean to the Eagle. Also, I love the bit where he's like saying, I'm just a thief. I just when we have Augie and we have Keith. I just to give him credit while we still have him around here. I just want to say I just love the father son kind of dynamic on the phone. Like, Dad, I'm kind of in the middle of something here. What is it? I'll drop it.
Okay, well, I gotta say, man, like I feel like Keith being directly involved in the Adebayo chase is the biggest thing as far as like, do we believe Augie with how he's trying to come across as a good man? Because I gotta tell you, man, like, yes, Augie is he is disappointed in Keith for doing that. I will give you that. That is definitely like a point in Augie's favor. But at the same time, it's like, it kind of feels sus that Keith would go out and do that to begin. Like, you would think if Augie and Keith and the, that whole team, you would think if they were really devoted to fighting the Nazis that, like why is Keith doing this? To keep up appearances? I don't know. Am I jumping the gun a little even by getting to this?
Well, I think so, maybe a little bit. Maybe we should just kind of like put a pin in that for now.
Okay.
But the point being, though, I love, he shows up in like Economos is like trying to deny everything. He says, I'm just a thief, and he stabbed me in the hand. I said a whole bunch of lies. You didn't lie. You didn't make anything
God damn
up.
it! I'm like a human lie detector.
Yep.
Which I can relate to because, as you know, Dragon, I crumble under pressure.
Oh yeah, like a wet paper towel. Folks, it's the saddest thing you've ever seen. Just seeing this, just turn on a lamp in a dark room and just point it at him, and he'll admit to kidnapping Lindbergh, baby. I promise. That's this guy here. Just
thank you.
Anyway. So Augie and Keith, they end up saving Peacemaker and Hardcore from the cops by killing everyone. It's basically like kind of our meta, like, you come with me if you want to live moment for Robert Patrick, which is really funny and ironic. Let's see. So let's okay. Before we get to the big meat and potatoes of it all, the two vigilantes comedy. So a part of it, part of me just when I look at it on the rewatch, it does kind of remind me of this like the two Buzz Lightyears from Toy Story 2, just a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Like Buzz, yes, that kind of. Anyway, so eventually, the vigilantes, they realize, oh, wait a minute, I just realized something. What? So one of my friends, she's kind of black. I mean, she could pass for white. No, she's one of the first things I noticed about her. Yeah, she's yes. Oh yeah, we gotta help her, else she'll never see her again. So they see Adebayo. The force, they even go to rescue her. It's like they just completely get sidetracked. Hey, Adebayo, guess he likes the same Pokemon as I do. This is hilarious. Like Adebayo is dealing with these crazy people, just like that she wants to sneak into the house, and they say like, yeah, let's just kill the cops. Yeah, that's a great idea. And like I'm down for killing some cops. Says little judo master. Said, oh, come on, guys, let's at least try and sneak in first. Like, right. Well, and basically in that moment, it really the thing I picked up on, I could be crazy here, is that Adebayo is like the mom that Vigilante respects.
Oh yeah, like I said, if Economos and Eagly are like the kid brothers, then she's definitely the mom for sure.
At the very least, a vigilante, and just given the relationship he has with his own mother, it's like this is the mom that it's like cool to him. It's like okay, black mom, we'll do it.
Oh God. That would be really funny if he actually said that line. Okay, Black Mom.
She's like the mom I've always wanted, but black, and that's cool too. All right, let's see. So, okay, so maybe before we get back to like the big all the big stuff, let's talk about Rick Flag.
Yeah, sure. I gotta tell you, Dragon, I can take or leave these Lex Luthor cameos. I mean, I don't have anything against them, but I just kind of feel like we literally don't need them, if that makes sense.
You mean you don't like either of them?
No, it's not that I don't like them. It's just that they're kind of like the one thing in the season that kind of feel like fan service more than actual like legitimately compelling storytelling, if that makes sense.
I mean, look, to the season's credit, okay, the whole thing is like Peacemaker. The whole exception for how Rick Flag can go after Peacemaker over this portal is predicated on the Lex stuff from Superman. So I think Lex's cameo at least, we kind of need.
Lex's cameo is fine. I just think like, oh look, it's the guy, it's that guy.
Okay, there's a reason we have this. You know what the reason is, don't you?
Well, I mean, because he was one of the more anti-portal in the movie.
Not what I was looking for, but not inaccurate. So Sidney Happerstein, he's played by Stevie Blackheart, who's like James Gunn's one of his bestest buddies, who's like his good luck charm. So he likes to put him in everything. That's the main. That's one of the main reasons where he liked him in Superman. And it was like, okay, well, we have an opportunity to bring him in somewhere. If we're going to bring him, usually Blackheart could be any number of characters. It was like, okay, well, we do have a pre-established character. And Lex did say he had a way of doing it. And we have like the way of doing it. I was expecting like a little handheld device that Lex would build, but it does make sense that, well, we have a whole thing that's dedicated to tracking and working with portals from the Superman movie. And we know a guy who can work it who is not Mr. Terrific, and that would be Sidney Happerstein, who is, might be less.
I mean, look, I guess it's fine. I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with it. I just kind of feel like we don't really need it. I don't know.
That's fine. I just want to say this though, Happerstein. I kind of like this character, and I do kind of hope he comes back because he's got a really interesting background. It's really subtle, and they kind of dropped a little nod to it here. And there's only apparently the very coveted and very hard to find James Gunn commentary for Superman, which I'm still very ticked off about. But the point being, this guy, his background, and we mentioned it here a little bit, is that so he was Lex's MIT professor who was like all about, basically where Lex learned all about the portal tech and everything. Mm-hmm. And the idea is, Lex in his frenzy of leadership, hired the guy away, and he basically, that Happerstein very much does have a kinship with Lex, and he looks up to him and everything. It's the idea. So this moment here where he's like, well, we could tell Lex, you let him down. He didn't do what he said. He's like, oh no, don't do that. I was just asking. I don't know, it's the idea this guy was like Lex's teacher, who's then just kind of in the submissive relationship now with his pupil is kind of interesting. I don't know.
No, I mean, you're right. And honestly, like a lot of that we do kind of, it's not like we get that entirely spelled out, but I feel like there's some element of that you can kind of infer just based on their interactions in Superman.
The bigger takeaway I have, honestly, is Rick Flag likes that this guy got results instantly, and I love how that scene played out. Where this guy, I love how he asked it so civilly, like, "Look, I don't want to be antagonistic, but what's in it for me? Why am I doing? Can't even get time off my sons like the Suicide Squad. Why am I doing this?"
I mean, honestly, I think that's one of the things that's appealing about this character, just in general, is just the way that he's kind of like, like nonchalant about the whole thing in any given situation.
He basically feels like the more competent version of John Economos, and
he kind of does, yeah.
That's the thing. I think in the future, if he comes back, because we know at least with this whole partner, at least for the Man of Tomorrow, at least, Rick Flag might have an opportunity to work with this guy more. And it feels like this would be Rick Flag's version of, like, think about it, if he's building his own kind of 11th Street Kids, he's got Sacha Bordeaux, and he's got as kind of his hardcore. Mm-hmm. And he's got Happerstein as his John Economos.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like it. All right. So big third act. So the third act, we're all finally at the house, and we have this wonderful twist. Augie, the whole time, he was not a Nazi in Earth X, which I think, in hindsight, it makes sense.
It does make sense just as far as like when you look at the current political stuff. It's like not everybody is that. You know what I mean?
Well, true. I mean, like, also, like, think about it. In the other unit, in our main universe, that one was a full-on white supremacist Nazi. It would be double. Like, if something has to change or invert, logically, he would not be that. We know he's a good father in comparison to that guy, but it'd probably go full tilt that if everyone's a Nazi, it would be double. It'd be, laying it on extra thick if he was also still a Nazi here.
Are you a Nazi, Linkara? No. Are you a Nazi? No. Sorry.
I'm not a Nazi.
No, I'm not a Nazi.
God, that's still funny.
That's going to be the end tag.
Well, I'm so glad you used it now.
Well, end tags are usually callbacks, so that's what we will call back. Anyways.
Anyway, so but it makes sense, and it's also like kind of a big subversion. That I'm going to say this, man. One of the reasons it's my favorite episode this season, I think Robert Patrick's performance. He
kills it. He does kill it.
Oh my God, he was so
would say
good.
It's easily his best performance between the two seasons, for sure.
Yes. Oh my God, he was so good here. And the idea that his great comeback there, she was basically, he's being very civil and very, very on point about the whole like matter of like what's going on. He gets, asks Chris what happened. He gives again. It's so great we can have these moments and these conversations that we always see go south in media and these movies and everything, where it's always like the misunderstanding here. If only he would have just let him fully explain. He actually hears him out, and he plays it smart. Which again is just such a rarity, and he's just like, okay, well, look, I believe him. I believe that it was an accident.
Right. No, okay, so we're going to have to break this down because I do think that the fact that he is being so understanding about the situation, that is definitely a point in his favor.
Yeah.
Again, my one hang-up is the fact that Keith was chasing Adebayo. Was that just like, oh, boys will be boys, my stupid kids? Well, again, it just kind of feels like if he's really that anti-Nazi, I just don't think he would raise kids that would just like casually do that.
Well, that's the thing.
The whole point of their whole group is that. You know what I mean?
Honestly, Tiki, my read on it, based on what we have here, we established that, Augie he's upset that Keith did this. And I think the idea is maybe, it was like the procedure was, okay, look, if you happen to be out in public and there's an angry mob, you should probably, like just for appearances, you should probably, go for the chase, but don't be like the lead guy in the pursuit of it. Like, it's like if you have an option to not.
Keith, he wasn't the lead guy, but he was like shouting. He was into it.
Now here's the diverging point though. Okay. So I really feel that again, I think there was probably a protocol in place for I'm not saying they probably reluctantly in the past have probably done that, but it feels like that's where Augie's boys get away from, where it feels like they were very much just going with kind of the way of the world on that one. So it feels like this is Keith, it feels like the Chris of this universe probably he went full tilt with it. He was doing it, and Augie never.
And that's really interesting. You know what? Okay, I'm glad you bring that up because we do get the whole the Chris of this universe kind of being the biggest piece of shit out of this family, and I think that also lines up with Vigilante, at the end of last episode where it's like Peacemaker, Chris Smith. I hate that guy. I like that he does specifically point out Peacemaker. He doesn't point out Augie or Keith. He points out Peacemaker. So okay. Dragon, I definitely think there's a little bit of a line of ambiguity, but I do think that the writers it's a very interesting move on the writers' part. The fact that we are kind of getting this sort of 11th hour reveal, and it's such a James Gunn moment, the fact that we get this big dramatic monologue, Chris is all into it, and then just in the background here comes Vigilante.
It's perfect, and it's so perfect. So again, just to break it there. So again, with the whole, it also feels like if you look back at just mainline Peacemaker, the idea is that in our main universe, when we saw him as kids, Chris was very much he looked up to Keith. And he kind of followed along with Keith, and as per the bad behavior that was indoctrinated to him from the father, that's what got Keith killed. Now, if you look here and you look at just with the whole chasing on a bio thing, it's kind of the same thing. We're probably in this universe, Chris led the charge, and Keith was kind of reluctantly given toe to his brother there, and that's why he's probably a little more into it than he should be, and that's why Augie's really let down at him here. You you shouldn't be doing that. That's like a procedural thing. Why are you doing that just for fun?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so let me see what. Okay, so just so out of hardcore, she's saying, she's calling him out as a Nazi, and she's like, is your world perfect? Do you make compromises? Which is a big fat yes. It's like, do you fight every injustice you see? And again, I just love that he believes our Peacemaker when he explains everything that's happened, and he's just trying to calm Keith during the whole scene. Just this Robert Patrick's just owning the scene. He's so flawless here, and again, it's such a divide from everything we've seen with
he really did go back to like that Bridge of Terabithia, like stern dad mode.
Yeah. And again, it's like we see
your friend Leslie's dead, Keith, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It really hit me that so often we see Robert Patrick as bad guys and tough guys and everything, but seeing him as like the tough guy who's actually secretly he's like a really good dude. It's just really, just it hit.
Probably
I love
not
that
the Terminator character, but a lot of the other characters, yes.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like seriously, because of the Terminator, he's gotten a bad rep where he's always playing like either bad guys or shady government guys who are like doing really shady things, but they're kind of good. But this is like this is not that at all. It's like him being genuinely, he's in a broken system, but he's genuinely, like him. I just love the depth of what James Gunn gave him in these two like brief throughout this whole episode, frankly, but especially in this scene here where it's like he's admitting Peacemaker's faults, and I love just this, I know I love the boy. It doesn't sound like you did, Dad. It's like, hey, I loved him, but he was into the violence and the drugs and everything. And I love the bit of doubt, and it's like, I know I loved him. But it's just great there, and it's perfect because it reflects Augie and Chris from the other universe, and it's just the fact they were never truly on the same page, and that element of their relationship still exists, but it's like it's inverted.
Sure.
The other one was harsher than him, and I think that's perfect. It's like if only they could have mixed the match, they could have been a genuinely happy family. So like what Chris was kind of going for here is everything he ever wanted, but again, like they were the only potentially like if they had a good Peacemaker, who knows how much better this world could have been,
Mm-hmm.
So I just love that. And also, again, just to show how cool Robert Patrick is, when we bring back Larry Fitzgibbons, and you'll notice the little detail that, we do not have his partner, who was, basically Jeff inhabited in the first season, Detective Song. Because, again, Asian, so, would be in the camps.
Right. No, you're right. That is a cool like attention to detail for sure.
So Larry Fitzgibbons, by the way, so the direct name that's the biggest James Gunn Easter egg. Where his best friend in real life is named Larry Fitzgibbons. So pretty much in every James Gunn product, I think maybe the MCU notwithstanding, there is a Fitzgibbons worked in there somewhere as a nod to him. But Larry Fitzgibbons, fully by name, Peacemaker was like the most direct he ever got with it, and just want to throw that in there. Point being, Fitzgibbons is back for a little brief cameo there, where he's again. I love how just Augie is like saying, like, look, it's basically the nicer version of the scene from season 1 where he told Song and Fitzgibbons to get out with all the racism. Just kind of cool. Anyway, so. He's just buying time, and I love that his thing too is like, look, we got to get him out. We don't want to kill him, but we just want to get him out. And like, so if anyone comes looking for the portal, then we're going to be screwed. He's more concerned about the portal than anything here,
Yeah.
So, again, this Augie, we mentioned that he was unsettled by the other Augie, and I love that moment too, where like our Peacemaker, he saw himself, and only in this case, well, I guess he saw like things that didn't make sense, and Augie just kind of related to him in that moment where he asked him, "What did you see?" Like, oh, and he's just thinking back to when he saw like the hateful racist Augie, like, oh god, it was horrible.
Yeah, which is really interesting. It's definitely like, again, like the season is all about kind of like that sort of like, mirror image and contradictions between the alternate versions of the characters, and it's really cool that we get that in such a such an upfront way.
Yeah, and as he's basically laying out like I can't fight every monster I in the world, I can only fight the ones in front of me. He's going over this great like what the world should be, and I look, when I've made compromise, I'm gonna face when I face the pearly gates, I'm gonna have to answer for some stuff, but I'm hoping merit of all the good that I've done. Of course, Chris is looking at this version of his father with utter pride, and like this is my role model. This is what I've always wanted to be. I've wanted to be a guy with kind of a dark past who's trying to make it right, and doing good and being looked at as a hero of this world. Like this man is everything I want to be. And then he sees Vigilante show up, and I love that he knows, but it happens in like a blink of an eye. Like, oh wait a minute, Vigilante.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like the moment right before a car crash, where it's like you just know what's going to happen and you can't stop it.
What's so shocking about this is it's not just like a moment of like explanation or like it's going to be a scuffle. It's like Vigilante crashes. Now, which Vigilante is the real question? I think we're going to play with that too. Which Vigilante did the deed? I think it's our Vigilante, but the point is a Vigilante crashes through both of them crash through the glass and instantly stab using the gaps, between the gaps, which was a callback to the first season. He's killing he kills Augie, stab him like 100 times in the neck, and it's brutal and it's instant and it's very sad. And it's, of course, any way you slice it, I think Peacemaker, of all the friends that he's not going to see next episode, he and Vigilante are going to have a really big hurdle to get over.
For sure.
I think that really he's going to really hate Vigilante for what he did. I think what's going to end up being is like he's going to be enemies with Vigilante because of that.
That again, that'd also be a really cool mirror with the whole, the alternate dimension Vigilante actually being Chris's enemy.
So I think that's pretty much where we're looking there.
Now, by the way, cool if we did a season like that.
Now, unfortunately, unfortunately, maybe not, because we know we're going to see him again. But right now, it seems like Peacemaker season 3 either is not in the cards or not in the cards for a while. That's kind of the word on the street right now. The word on the street is like...
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get a season 3, and I don't say that in like a downer way. I'm saying that we might just have a two and done sort of situation.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what we're looking at here, frankly, based on what James Gunn said. We're going to do that, but the characters might pop up in other things, like John Economist, logically, if we do that Amanda Waller show. Or,
sure. Yeah.
All right, let's see. So, also Creature Commandos, they're probably going to pop up there. But anyways, yes, so Vigilante kills Augie and the 11th Street kids. Basically, everything goes to bedlam here as they're trying to get home, and then Keith, I love the brutality. This is the thing that already was getting me to the place this episode was taking me, where Keith is cradling his father's body, and he's looking to Peacemaker, and he's saying, what did you do to us, essentially? It's like, what did you bring here? Yeah. And just David Denman, too, man. This is some of the finest stuff I've ever seen with David Denman this episode. He was, oh my God, he was so flawless and just playing like when Peacemaker's genuinely apologizing, and again, it's a messy scene where he's just like, like, F you, man, you killed, he tried I don't think he tried to kill. No, he didn't murder him. He's very upset about the death of his brother, which, of course, is putting him exactly where Peacemaker has been the whole time in the other universe. And just seeing Cena just processing one trauma after another here, with the first one being like he wasn't a Nazi, just trying to oh my God, I don't think he was a Nazi. He's no, we got to get out of here, man. Mm-hmm. But so the big Emmy scene, let's call it now. Everyone is holding back Keith, who's trying to kill our Peacemaker, and everyone, the 11th Street kids, they're all holding him back, and Judo Master, and they're about to kill Keith, and just Cena has this. Tiki, why don't you take it away? Tell them about this moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a panic attack. That's how I would describe it. Cena he becomes like a child in this moment, Dragon, which is haunting. Just the screaming to stop, and I feel like this line that he has very much mirrors the line that you just mentioned. The whole what have we become?
Yep.
I love the we in there. I love that he's not letting himself off the hook with it.
What the F is wrong with us? What are we doing?
Yeah. Right.
But just still,
such a visceral moment. I mean, it's easily I think it's easily the most emotionally effective piece of acting I have ever seen throughout Cena's career.
Just seeing him just that moment of amidst the chaos, and just he.
And then we do get the really good editing as well, because we just get the brief flashes of him killing the kid version of Keith, and then him killing Augie, and then the Peacemaker what a joke moment.
Yeah. So all the death that's kind of haunted him and just kind of like kind of continually re-traumatized and shaped him throughout the show's narrative, and just seeing just like again all boiled down to that like stop, But again, it's just so guttural and just kind of raw, and it feels like again Cena, he's been very open about he gets anxiety, he gets kind of the panic of celebrity, and that's kind of all kind of the vulnerability and just the core of the character, which is now kind of become synonymous with kind of like Cena deep down. It's just kind of it's a raw and vulnerable moment, and just seeing like cradle his brother's body, and he's looking for redemption in that moment for like the death that he caused, and he does not want to be the cause of it again. And he's just like, just this is and you have to wonder. I mean, ultimately, it's probably gonna be a no, but you have to wonder like, is Keith like gonna register any of like the humanity here from the man that killed his brother?
Right.
I like that. Look, I like to think in my heart of hearts, yes, but then again, he's seeing red. We know by the end of this episode, we see Keith's alive, and he's plotting revenge, and he's very much kind of more so the other Augie's son more than he is like this Augie's son.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so again, it's just Adebayo just kind of comforting Chris and getting them all out of there, and then Hardcore trying to kill Keith.
Which I actually do really love that moment, because it's kind of like it goes full circle. Because you remember, Dragon, like there was a period of time where I was a little bit skeptical about Hardcore, just because they kept harping on the Rick Flag thing with the whole opens and stuff. But no, I mean, this obviously, if anything else goes to show, like she is 100% on board with Chris, and that's just a great moment of loyalty there. But at the same time, it's definitely not what Chris wants.
Yeah, it's definitely messed up in that, like she's initially, I thought it was a mercy kill thing where I thought he was rarely injured. Maybe it was like put him out of his misery. But then again, it was like, no, we can't have you going after Chris. Like he actually could have survived, which he ultimately does survive. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she was about to make a very hard choice, a hardcore choice.
I don't think for her it was a hard choice though.
I mean a hard choice for him, for Chris, but
right. Yeah.
For her, it's an easy choice, but a hard choice, and then obviously this would bother him, but like we can't have him coming after us. This guy's a threat, so we gotta axe him. All right, so Vigilante, the big theory, the big speculation is, did we have a switch in Vigilantes here when in the midst of all the action? Which
I honestly, the way I tracked it, no, we did not.
Yeah,
from what I tracked,
it wouldn't make a lot of sense if it. Then again, Vigilante is crazy, so it's kind of hard to tell if he crazily would have said, "I'll stay behind. Let's switch, buddy. It'll be funny."
right.
Because you got to remember, Vigilante still he didn't really register.
Well, the way that I tracked it though, Dragon, is I tracked, that the alternate dimension Vigilante is the one going like, yeah, Sons of Liberty.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did track that he was the one that did end up staying behind. So,
but that's the thing, though. You could always pull the subversion. Though, the one that says Sons of Liberty is like our Vigilante trying to be part of the team. But yeah, Sons of Liberty.
That would be really funny. Or it'd be really funny if we just like, but Adrian, like that, the other one yelled Sons of Liberty. Like, no, I just told him to do that. We rehearsed lines and everything.
Exactly, it's possible. I mean, look,
it's kind of like a play on the Rocco's Modern Life bit. Like, we had rehearsals.
Yeah. So it's entirely, look, it is on the table. A part of me thinks, I really, in my heart of hearts, I don't think we switched them. I think we're trying to make people think maybe we did, but I don't think we did. But you can make a case.
My bigger concern, and I guess it's not really much of a concern, because in the realm of comic books, it's like if you get shot on the shoulder, you're fine. You can, you. But I part of me was kind of wondering if there was going to be a little bit of a switcheroo with when he does get shot the first time, if we're going to do a thing where the real Vigilante just doesn't make it out, and then Vigilante 2 comes to our dimension.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I thought we were going with this.
I mean, either
initially,
like story potential wise, the idea is you would have a Vigilante that is in more of an antagonistic relationship with Peacemaker in our mainline universe, and you can arrive at that conclusion with what was presented with us in either way. So I mean, it could either way in theory could work, because again, obviously we have the one that is traditionally enemies of Peacemaker who made it through. We got it that way. If you have the one who is killed, like basically the father he always wanted, and now he's kind of turned against, Peacemaker is turned against him, you get it that way. So either way, it still plays. So I think dramatic. I can't say one is more dramatically interesting than the other one. I mean, logically, I would say mainline Vigilante is probably slightly the more interesting in that regard. But
Sure.
I don't know. It just feels like part of it feels like it's too obvious to do a switcheroo. Then the other side is it's too obvious not to do a switcheroo in this case. Like, they look exactly the same and they're hugging, and it'd be a very easy thing to do. So
How
either way,
cool is that? Is that door kick, by the way?
it's awesome. It's very cool, and that's him saving him from having the dimensional door discovered, so that helps. Okay, so they all go through, and then we have our kind of our cool lineup shot here. Where basically, and I love just again, Cena is just acting the heck out of this for you. Chris is just done. He surrenders the portal. He saves his friends by saying they came in. Basically, he talked him into surrender and give him the portal. Judo Master confirms it, which is a really nice moment for him, where Judo Master pretty much he's kind of like an unofficial 11th Street kid. And yes, and Peacemaker again. So basically, his takeaway from that breakdown is it's me. It's the self hatred just kind of come out as an epiphany of like. It's based in answer to the beginning of the season. He wants to be more. He feels he's gotten the shaft, and that no one's given him a fair shake. Glass half empty. I should be in the Justice Gang, but they reject me. It was like I shouldn't be in the Justice Gang. I bring nothing.
That's actually a good point. I'm glad you bring that up because that is a good kind of like now that we're in the season finale, and the season finale seems to be all about him kind of like coming to terms with whether or not he's even a good person, let alone a good hero. And it is a definitely an interesting kind of like place that we've brought him from, where at the start of the season he was like, no doubt I need to be involved in the Justice Gang.
Yeah. So I love that's the thing with this episode. I think what really has me is that this episode, to me, it feels like this is like what the downer ending of season 2 could be, and that it feels like. I mean, look, it's a sad ending, but this feels. It just makes me think. I have no idea what's coming next, and I really like that. That this is like a really good dramatic ending for everything we've been through on the season. For Peacemaker, James Gunn's been promising like episode 8's like the biggie, and like there's going to be some really amazing stuff.
Episode 8 is also supposed to be like 50 minutes long as opposed to 30, which frankly that's good because I do think one of the flaws of the season is I think the episodes have by and large been a little too short.
Yeah,
like I feel like this episode really should have been at least 40 minutes, and that's kind of where part of the disappointment with this episode comes from.
Well, it was a very expensive dance sequence.
Yes,
they had it was a very expensive it was a very expensive dance sequence. They had to save money somewhere, so they make shorter episodes. That's how it works. I mean, they had an eagle dance and a xenomorph. It's not cheap, man. Which, by the way, is like people have kind of people have joked like in the Insider podcast. Like they have like a call-in thing, and basically somebody asked, like, hey, can we ever see how Peacemaker met Eagly, maybe in like a 4th of July special?
And that'd be cool.
James Gunn, he actually kind of, he said it's not on the table currently, but he has joked actually like an Eagly Christmas. He's got,
hell yes, dude, hell yes.
So I mean, like,
okay, you know what, Dragon? You know what? I don't want to like make anything official right now. I think a Peacemaker Christmas special pitch might be on the horizon.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if we want to make it like.
Oh God! Imagine Economos getting Flurry like a guide for bird watching. Flurry's like offended by it.
With like a gag where like Hawk Girl flies by, says, "Look at that duck woman."
Oh my God!
Was it like Duck Girl or something? Like, okay, we gotta get you like we get you like a size guide or something, man. This is just getting sad.
All right.
Anyway, so we end things on a bit of a down note here. Peacemaker is he's arrested. He's just kind of the 11th Street kids are kind of beside themselves, like kind of what now? And Keith is alive and looking very angry, very full of revenge in his heart. It would seem.
Oh yeah.
So presumably, I think it stands to reason if we have an episode left and that guy's still alive, we might. It sounds like we're going to do maybe like a bit of a time jump, like 3 months or so, and we're gonna time's going to pass while he's in prison, and then maybe
I could see that. Yeah, sure.
I imagine Rick Flag, experimenting with the portal technology. Now, whether or not he's going to try and get his son, because obviously, if he goes in the Nazi universe, which Yeah, you have to imagine Judo Master's probably going to do a debrief and tell him what was in that universe. So you probably know it's going to be a Nazi universe. If not, that's going to be a real rude awakening. Like, hello, son. Sieg Heil, Dad.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be great? Imagine that. Imagine like Rick Flag Sr. gets like the experience. Oh my God, my son's back, and it's like this really beautiful, heartfelt thing. And this is like, wait, so like the Nazis didn't win World War II here? Nazi? What are you talking about? Oh, you know, it'd be even better. Oh, guys, this is just being silly, mind you. It's like, okay, son, let me show you. Let me introduce you to this little unit that I run, the Creature Commandos. So
Oh my
God! Like, is this my
Right.
friend GI Robots?
And GI Robot just immediately scopes him out.
It's like, no, he's not a Nazi. What are you talking about? Nazi? Yeah, we're Nazis. What are you talking about?
He is absolutely a Nazi.
No, GI, don't! It's like, not again! Why? Let's go back to the portal, find another one. Dang it!
Okay, honestly, low key with James Gunn's sense of dark humor, I wouldn't entirely put that off the table, Dragon. I know you're joking, but like I wouldn't entirely put that off the table.
You know, in this commentary that still ticks me off with Superman. Not that the content in the commentary was bad, just finding it still irks me. The point being, there were a lot of dark humor, a lot of dark jokes that he cut from the Superman movie. One of them, this was super dark, was after Molly, you know, the food guy. You know,
right.
guy.
Yeah.
I forget if it was shawarma or not, but it was basically that guy.
It wasn't shawarma.
I know it wasn't shawarma. I think it was it falafel? I think we confirmed
it was falafel. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a great, just kind of like, hey, Feige, look now, haha. But no, so the guy, Molly, the guy who did falafel, after he gets killed, in that scene, the way it was like pitched to go was the blood was going to pour out of the guy's head, and it was going to be like inching towards Luthor's like Italian shoes, and he was going to tell like the the ruler of Baravia. Gurkos. He's going to tell Gurkos to lie down and sop up the blood with his body. And basically, here's what happened. Okay, the way James Gunn like laid it out was that basically he's going to laugh it off like it's a joke, and like Luthor is going to look at him like, no, it's not a joke, and then basically out of fear, after initially saying no. And then Gurkos would just cower, and he would like actually sop up the blood in a Superman movie, which clearly would have been really.
I mean, I'm glad that he restrained him, because obviously, I mean, we've talked about this before, but I think everyone can agree one of the biggest strengths of the Superman movie is that, yeah, it goes dark in places for sure, but it doesn't have the usual James Gunn cynicism to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it would have been like a little more just James Gunn on autopilot for that moment. It's like, okay,
right.
Maybe a little much. All right, but so that is that's the end of the episode. That's end of 7.
Yeah, and it definitely seems like I would be shocked if we didn't get some sort of like dimension hopping in the next episode, some sort of like multiverse of madness style, like going between all kinds of different dimensions, cool cameos and stuff.
I think we're at the bare minimum we're getting a montage of that or something. It's a trial and error of like Rick Flag and company like playing with the portal.
Which it's funny that we thought that was going to go to Judo Master of all people.
Now I really love that with that. I really love that we established that this portal is actually better than Luthor's, and we kind of confirmed that, like the whole wobble thing. We explained that that's the whole dimensional detritus thing that we saw happen in Superman. This alien portal is actually far more stable, and of course, oh god, we've armed the government with a really bad idea. This is yeah.
All right, so very much looking forward to next week. It's been a really rock solid season. Really good character work here. Any other final thoughts, Dragon, before we sign off?
Like I said, man, I go back to this one. I'm still wowed and impressed by the performances and kind of the storytelling that we did here. I'm pleased as peaches by this one, man. I love it.
All right. Okay, so we will see you guys next week when we talk Rohit will be talking the finale tentatively, right?
Assuming we do it on Sunday, I believe we're still going to be able to do Sunday. Worst case, it might be moved, but that Rohit we got.
Okay. All right. Well, in the meantime, folks, see you later. Have a good night. Are you a Nazi, Linkara?
No!
Are you a Nazi?
No, not a Nazi.